What is going on, guys and gals? My name is Schematocles, bringing you another X-Plane 11 video today. This is Reagan National Airport, or Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha, in Washington, D.C., and I wanted to show you kind of a scenic view today because I've actually got the Washington XP scenery pack installed right now, and it models Reagan quite well as the rest of the DC area. So if we were to look out here at the end of runway 1, we've actually got the Jefferson Memorial, the Washington Monument out there. There's the World War II Memorial. That's the Lincoln all the way down there. And then looking back in the other direction on the mall, we've got the Smithsonian, which is really cool. The Air and Space Museum is somewhere in here. Can't quite see it, but it is there. And there's the Capitol building right there. So really cool scenery pack. I will leave a description to that, or a link to that down in the video description rather, in case you are interested. But today we're going to be flying the JARDesign Airbus A320, and we're getting loaded up here with passengers and fuel. I've been waiting to fly this guy for quite a little while, but I finally got some time today, and I just felt like flying. So let's go ahead and get her cranked up. Got a checklist here, so we're going to be doing a cold and dark start, much like we did for the Boeing, and that what you'll see is that a lot of the same systems are actually automated for the Airbus, so we won't have to change over any AC, DC voltmeters or anything like that. Okay, so we've got our external power on at this point, so we can go ahead and switch on interior lights as needed. It is kind of later in the afternoon, so we'll turn on everything. Now we can go down to the PFD and the ND and make sure that those are switched on. We want to next switch on the ECAMs, and they're already on full blast. Batteries can now go on. Nav lights will turn on nav. Radio control panel can go on. ECAM recall is checked. Emergency lights can be armed. There we go. No smoking lights coming on immediately. Fuel pumps can now be switched on. Okay, now we want to go up to the ADIRs, and we will switch each one of these into nav individually until the on-bat symbol goes off. The bat symbol. Last one. Okay, so what I'll now do is go down to the MCDU, and we will perform the init page. So we're going again from Reagan National, Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha. We're going to be flying down to Raleigh Durham International, and that is Kilo Romeo Delta Uniform in North Carolina. And we'll align the IRS. Cost index we'll use 50 today. Cruise flight, we're going to set a cruise level of 240. Okay, good to go. Next, we want to go ahead and calculate zero fuel weight, and we have a block weight of 7, so that's fine. And that should be the initialization page. So let's go ahead into the flight plan now, and we will program our departure. We're going to be taking off from runway 1 here via the, let's see, the JW1. Yeah, there we go, with the SPV transition. So we'll put that into the flight plan and insert it. And we want to check for discontinuities. Okay, there's one right there. That's okay though. Go into RDU. And I'm going to go ahead and set the arrival, which you wouldn't normally do, but I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a minute. Okay, no via. And let's insert that as well. Okay, so that is the flight plan completed. Now we want to go up to the altimeter, and we'll switch this over to inches of mercury, 299 Standard altimeter should be fine for today. Next up, we want to go back to the MCDU, and we will work on performance. V1 135, VR 140, V2 153. So that's pretty high speed for Reagan, so we'll probably actually be using Toga rather than Flex. But I'll set a flex temp just in case. Okay, next we want to go back up here, set our first altitude on the altimeter. or on the autopilot altitude bug, rather. We'll set that to climb since we don't anticipate any altitude restrictions. Doors are now closed. APU can now come on, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and disengage the catering trucks and the stairs, just so they have time to clear out. APU bleed will come on now, and we'll wait for the APU to spool up as we do that. Seatbelts can now come on. Parking brake is confirmed on. Beacon lights can be switched on at this point. Wing lights as well. We will now wait for the APU. So I've actually been working on my camera views as well, and I got the X camera plugin and kind of have been messing around with that, so hopefully we'll get a chance to take a look at that in just a bit. Really cool aircraft, really like it. It does have its quirks though. Certainly. Things that I've noticed are that the default tug actually has some problems with the parking brake getting stuck and you can't actually toggle it. Or not the default tug, sorry, the actual the tug that comes with the JARDesign Airbus. The default tug is actually preferable. Okay, so now we can go back up top and we will go ahead and disconnect the external power since the APU is spooled up, and we will turn on the air conditioning packs and turn down the temps just so that they don't complain. And they actually will do that. So at this point we are ready for pushback, so I will go ahead and call the tug, and we'll go ahead and start up 2 while he's on his way. And check the ECAM, watch that guy come online. Oh, here comes the tug. Looks like he drove right through the wall. Pretty standard stuff. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and disengage the parking brake for him.
Here we go. Park brake off.
And here we go. C2's up. Alright, so 2 is stabilized. Let's go ahead and start 1.
Starting engine 1.
Okay, park brake is set.
Park brake on.
Let him get clear. Wait for 1 to come online. Now we can go ahead and switch the ignition selector back to the normal position, and the APU can come off since 2 is spooled. Go ahead and disengage the APU bleed as well. Now we want to go ahead and arm the ground spoilers.
Spoilers arm.
And then we will set flaps for takeoff. And to do that, I need to go back into the performance page, and we want to set 1 unit of flaps and a nose up stabilizer trim of 0.5. Okay, back to the center pedestal. We will set
Flaps 1.
the flaps for takeoff. All right, transponder can now go to TARA and ABV. Nose lights can go to taxi since we are ready to taxi. Runway turn-off lights can be switched on. Auto brakes will go ahead and set for a rejected takeoff, which would be maximum, and then brake fan on. And at this point, we should check the takeoff config is green right here, which it is, so we are good to taxi to our holding point. So I'll go ahead and disengage the parking brake.
Park brake off.
And let's get over to runway 1. Frame rate's actually pretty good, given that I'm rendering everything in maximum settings and have a recording going on with all this really detailed scenery. It's pretty impressive. I've had issues before with the JARDesign Airbus, but typically if you actually reload the airplane, the frame rate will come up, and I'm not really sure exactly why that happens. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cross 22 to get over to 1. And I don't think we're going to be able to see too much on the climb out here. Unfortunately, but that's okay. Alright, coming up on the holding point, so go ahead and brake. Alright. Runway 10. Go ahead, or it's not 10, it's just 1, right? Set the parking brake so that we don't accidentally drift onto the active. So now the landing lights can come on, so those will be fully extended. The nose lights can go to takeoff. Strobe comes on now. Verify RTO is set. We are good to go there. And we can now enter the active. Let's get underway. So the Airbus has a gated throttle system. So you've got speed, and then you have a climb power setting, a flex setting, and a takeoff go around, so toga setting, which is full available thrust. And that's what I'm going to be using today, just because the runway at Reagan's a little bit short for my taste. Let's get a rolling start here, and we will set toga.
Power set.
So once we are off the ground, gear will come up at 500 positive feet per minute, and then we can go ahead and engage the autopilot. So V1 is 135.
100 knots.
Confirmed. See if we actually hit that before the end of the runway here. It's going to be close. Yeah, we'll get it.
V1. Rotate.
And we are airborne. Very nice.
Positive climb.
Alright, gears coming up. And I will now go ahead and engage the autopilot and move that throttle position back to climb. Alright, so while we're on the climb out, let's take a look. Oh, the gear did not come up. That's cool. So these are some of my X-camera views. This is an orbit. Very, very cool. Get to see a little bit of DC in the background as well there. So that's really useful for B-roll. Really very, very nice. Let's go.
Passing flight level 020.
Back internal. Make sure everything's going well here. Appears to be. Interesting that the gear didn't come up. That was a little odd. Alright, so we can now suck up the flaps.
Speed check. Flaps 0.
Okay. So now, the only real thing for us to do here is to disarm the ground spoilers.
Spoilers disarmed.
And then we can go ahead and turn off the exterior lights that we don't need. And right now, that's just going to be the nose lights and the runway turnoffs. Everything else will stay on until 10,000 feet. Okay. First altitude is set. Alright, let's go back external here. I'll show you guys some more of the really cool views I've got set up. So we've got a nice view of the right side of the airplane. There's a right side ISO view. I think we're going to go down and take a look at the engine here. Very nice. There's the front of the aircraft. The DC in the background there. Going over to engine number 1. Check that out. We're heading up to a left isometric view. Very nice. Really smooth transitions. If you guys are interested in seeing a tutorial on how to do this in X-Camera, I would be happy to do that for you. I think it really does improve the kind of production value of a video like this. Got a nice view of the tail there. And finally back to that right side view. Pretty neat. X-Camera again is a free plugin, which is awesome. So I'm not actually running the track IR today, since I've got all these new kind of camera views set up. Find it a little easier just to not have to worry about resetting it or having it glitch out for recording sake. Okay, we're getting ready to pass through 10,000 feet. What's our transition altitude? Trying to find it. Whoops. There it is. 18,000. Okay. That's what I thought. So we're now through 10,000. So the nav and logo lights and wing lights are going to come off. And we can turn off and retract the landing lights. And just since we're feeling nice, we will go ahead and turn off the seat belts so the passengers can move about the cabin. All right. Absolutely beautiful. And that is done via what's called a flyby in X-Camera. Really great little add-on. So I guess we'll go ahead and stick around up till top of climb. Just kind of talk. Let's see. Increase this range on out. Yeah, so we're about really just 30 miles from top climb. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I know I am. Getting to play a little bit of flight sim, so it's always good. So, just a little bit about what I've been up to. I have installed this Washington XP scenery that we've got here. I've been learning the JARDesign A320 kind of in and out. I've installed a really nice New York City XP scenery pack as well. Unfortunately, that does not model any airports, but the city itself is pretty photorealistic. It's amazing. The Chrysler Building and everything are modeled. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, I'd love to show it to you. Maybe via just a little VFR flight or something like that. I've also installed some custom scenery for LAX San Diego, and a few other places. Which look really, really nice. And those are actually freeware. And then I picked up, for my future use, the Supercritical Simulations Group 7478, which is an awesome, awesome aircraft. Really excited to kind of get in that cockpit and learn the minutia of it. So, looking forward to that. Then I've got just a slew of freeware airplanes that I've been dying to put up videos of as well. So hopefully I'll get some time to do that in the coming week. Alright, and we have just passed through transition altitude, so we'll go ahead and switch over to standard barrel.
Cross check. Passing flight level 182.
Been working on my internal views as well. So I've got one of the overwing, which will be pretty cool on approaches. So you can see the flaps and the spoilers as they come out, if needed. I've also got just this view of the engine, which I can get to pretty easily to watch it spool up. Alright everybody, so at this point we're approaching top of climb here. So what I'll do is I will cut in some nice B-roll with the X-Camera plugin just to kind of see if you guys like it. So let me know how you feel about the upcoming B-roll, and I will see you guys at 30 nautical miles from top of descent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, glad you're back with me. We are about 30 nautical miles away from top of descent, as you can see right here. So we're going to go ahead and start making our preparations for the approach. All right, so the very first thing that we need to do is go up to the autopilot, and we will set the autopilot altitude for the airport level. Next, our arrival is already set in the FMC, so we can go ahead and switch on our exterior lights, and we'll just do wing and nav for right now, and the remainder of these will come on at 10,000 feet. Okay, we need to make sure that the auto brakes are set, so we'll set it to medium, and the brake fan is on. Spoilers can now be armed.
Spoilers armed.
And flaps and gear as needed. So we are more or less good to go for the approach, with the exception of checking that the ILS frequencies are set correctly. And I don't know that we can actually see Raleigh yet, and we cannot. So we will wait. So just to kind of go through my cockpit views here, I've got the standard PFD and ND here. I've got the center pedestal, the MCDU, and the ECAM, the autopilot, the overhead panel, the upper overhead panel, and then the lower portion of the center pedestal. And that kind of allows me to get to really everything that I need to get to. Just out of curiosity, okay, these are both set to 111.7, and the Airbus will actually set the ILS frequencies for you, and it knows that via a table lookup. Roger that. So just out of curiosity, let's go ahead and engage the descent phase. We'll see where we are. It's going to go ahead and slow us down. A lot of the time, you will start the descent right at top of descent, and you'll actually be much too low, or much too high, sorry. It'll actually start the descent phase late, which is a bit odd. Right now, I don't appear to have any information about the actual glide slope, and we might not pick that up until top of descent, but it's better to start early in this airplane, because that is one of the tricky things that you have to kind of monitor. Turn on the seatbelt lights. And it's also not like the Boeing VNAV, because it's not actually going to start descending until you pull out the altitude knob. So you have to do that right at or before top of descent, or you'll be much too high. Just a quick look outside. Everything's looking nice. Let's check out the orbit. Very cool. Super pleased with X-Camera as a plugin, now that I kind of know how to use it. It's a little bit frustrating at first, but if you find a good tutorial, learning curve's probably about an hour or so to really get everything set up well for one aircraft. Do again, let me know if you guys like that little B-roll segment. I'm just trying to kind of improve the quality of my videos so that you guys get a more kind of complete experience. Probably add in some nice music to that B-roll as well. Just trying to get better at what I do, I guess. And now we have some glide slope information, and as it turns out, we are actually low, which is fine by me. The Airbus is not going to take us below the gates, so if we go to the flight plan here, check SPV, that's at 14,569. So we just passed through the transition altitude, so we'll go ahead and push this guy back to local barometric. And the Airbus, like the 767 Professional, will tell you if it needs more drag for whatever reason. And it'll do that via a little annunciator right here on the PFD. So we're getting close to starting the Alden 1 star into Raleigh Durham. We'll see if it actually levels out above SBV. I don't know that we'll get down to that level before we pass it. Looks like we might actually. We'll see what happens here. Find it interesting that it doesn't actually sync up with the glide slope. Okay, we're about to break an altitude limit here. Yep. And it passed right through it. Very interesting. Okay, so what I'll do, let's see what the next gate is. 10-9. Okay. That's fine. We'll just let it descend. Not a super big deal. Don't need to level out for any particular reason. If once we actually get to Alden we're too high, then we will, or too low rather, we'll level out and let the glide slope come down to meet us. So the gate at Alden is 10-1. Okay. So what I'll do then is I'll come right on over here and I will set this altitude for 10,000. We could probably check, see if we can see Raleigh. Yep, there it is. Okay. And for 26 right, 111.7. So that is correct. The frequencies for the ILS are set at this point, and that's the last thing that we actually needed to do before final. We don't have any glide slope information yet off the ILS. Not super surprising. Let's see what the approach looks like. So it appears, yeah, we just got a nice little right turn to 2-3. And that's it. Oh, so did it actually level us at 10.5 there? Oh, it's because it's in the decel phase right now. Okay, well, that's a good reminder for us to come up and we will switch on all the pertinent lights. And everything else appears to be good to go. Okay, and since it went into decel there, I'll go ahead and lower down this altitude. It's got a bit more to go on the deceleration. I won't use any spoilers, just to kind of let the glide slope come down to us. So all in all, the JARDesign's Airbus is absolutely awesome. I'll say it's probably the best Airbus in X-Plane 11, the best Airbus A320 at the very least. I really, really like it. It does have its quirks. You do have to kind of fly the autopilot, make sure that it's not doing anything too strange, or you can kind of get into trouble. Actually, what I'll do, let's go ahead and level out here. We're just going to let that glide slope come down, and we'll switch it back into VNAV descent. Now let's go ahead and switch it back. There we go. And hopefully that way we won't break any more altitude restrictions. Get in any more trouble with the FAA, as it were. Nice engines at idle, much less annoying. Got the nice sharklet. Or these aren't the sharklets, these are just the standard Airbus winglets. I actually like these better than the sharklets. A little bit more characteristic of Airbus, in my opinion. And now we're right on glide, so that's good. Okay, and we are hitting decel right now. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and switch into speed control, and we'll take it down to 200 knots. And for this phase, because we are a bit high, I'm actually going to deploy the spoilers. And we'll keep those deployed until we get back out to glide slope. There you can see those spoilers come out. Very nice. Get an overwing view of that. Awesome. The interior views are actually much quieter, even though you go outside the aircraft. Don't get quite as much engine noise. So the airplane will actually start to decelerate more quickly rather than throttling up, which is very nice. I wish that is what the 767 did. Fortunately, it's not. See our descent rate increase here. Okay, and maybe we'll have something from the ILS now. Nope, not yet. That's okay. Go ahead and retract the spoilers. We'll add those as needed, just to kind of keep this pink dot right where we want it. Alright, so we're around about 15 miles from the turn to final. No, a bit farther, 20.
Approach phase activated.
We are approaching Butts. It's an interesting name. Only in North Carolina, I guess. Okay, let's go ahead and get those spoilers back out. I'll go ahead and decrease my speed just a bit more. Let's go ahead and go flaps 1.
Check. Flaps 1.
We'll leave those spoilers out just so we can descend a bit more rapidly. Coming right back up on glide. Verifying that the auto brakes are set, and they are. Go ahead and retract spoilers. All right, let's see what the gate is at Preston. 3.7. Okay, we'll probably be fine. We're a bit below glide as is. Once we turn on to final, we'll go ahead and activate the approach phase. And after that, we just got to take it all on down. Let's go ahead and get another quick flyby here from the rear. Gorgeous. Very cool. Now I'll check out those flaps. Continue to do that if I can remember as they come down. Alright, so we're right about dead on at Preston. Still a bit low. That's okay. Hopefully the FAA won't be too upset with me. Alright, let's go ahead and activate approach. And we have the ILS, and we are low. And we have the localizer. It's a little bit hazy out there. Also installed a new weather package. I'm using UltraWeather XB version 2. It's a little bit less pricey than XEnviro. And I like what it does. Makes the game look pretty nice. Okay, I'm gonna level out. Till we are a little bit closer on glide. It may seem that I'm being overly cautious, but that's just kind of the way that I am now after having this airplane start descents on me way too late. Okay, now here comes the GPS glide. And here comes the ILS, perfect. Reactivate the approach phase. Once it hits that diamond, we should go right on down with it. And we've captured glide slope. And here we go. Alright, to go ahead and decelerate to 160.
Spoilers full. Radio altimeter
Roger. We're about 7 miles out.
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Alright, let's go ahead and slow to approach speed. And we'll go flaps 3.
Flaps 3.
A little high. Go ahead and get the gear out.
Gear down.
Okay, I have the field. We're coming along nicely here.
1,000.
Gears down. Let's go ahead and retract the spoilers. Alright. Coming on down, coming on down. Right on glide. Very, very nice. I love when a plan comes together. All the systems are working together quite well here.
500. 400.
Okay. Let's go ahead and disengage
Check.
the autopilot and the auto throttle.
300.
100 above.
We'll take it on in ourselves.
Minimum.
Speed checked. Flaps full.
100. 50. 40.
Let's flare.
20.
There we go. Spoilers to full.
Cell.
Retard. Retard.
Reverse green.
Reversers on.
Standard barrow cross check.
Alright, reversers are in.
0, 3.
Well, let's see. Don't think we're going to make that taxiway. That's okay. Alright. Go ahead and suck up those flaps.
1. Flaps 0.
Sounds like everybody's mad at us. Probably wasn't the smoothest landing there. Alright, let's go ahead and taxi to the holding point, and we'll just go ahead and post up right here for just a minute so that I can go through these after landing flows. We'll act like we're spending this time getting a gate. Okay. So, after landing, we can go ahead and disarm the ground spoilers.
Spoilers on.
Whoops.
Spoilers disarmed.
Weather radar can, well, we never had the weather radar off because it was clear. That's fine. Wind shear off, flaps to 0. Now we want to go ahead and start the APU and the APU bleed. And we can go ahead and move to parking. So let's do that. Turn off the landing lights and the runway turn off lights. So let's find a nice gate to park at. We won't go far. Interesting that we're not moving when the parking brake isn't set. That was weird. That was a glitch. Okay, so the parking brake was set there, but on the actual cockpit parking brake handle, it was not set. So there are some glitches on the parking brake with this aircraft, and they're kind of irritating sometimes, but that's okay. Still love it anyway. Alright, looks like we got us a gate. I'm actually going to steer just a bit right of that. So we can go ahead and stop. And we will engage the parking brake on the pedestal.
Park brake on.
Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and call ground power, and we can call the stairs and the catering truck. And we will go ahead and open all the doors. That'll look pretty neat. Probably shouldn't have done that with the engine still running, but that's okay. Okay, so we are now at parking, so we can go ahead and turn off 1 and 2. Alright, seatbelt signs can come off now. No smoking signs can come off as well. The emergency light sign can be disarmed. Beacon can come off. Wing off. Nav logo off. Strobe off. Okay, now we can go ahead and switch off the nose light. Retract the landing lights. And the fuel pumps can go off. Okay, now we're just going to secure the aircraft, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and go up to the ADIRS, and we will switch all of those off. The APU bleed at this point can go off, as well as the APU itself. Next up is just going to be the batteries, and that's it. We are back in a cold and dark state in our Airbus A320. All the passengers can disembark and everything. Well, that's it, guys and gals. I hope that you have enjoyed this nice little flight from Reagan International down to Raleigh Durham with me today in the JARDesign Airbus A320. Thanks so much for your support. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, letting me know what you want to see in the future. And if you liked it a lot, then go ahead and subscribe for more X-Plane 11 content just like this. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.